जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे। जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ राधे। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, chapter 12, entitled The Birth of Emperor Parikshit, text number 21. Dhanvinam agranir esha Dhanvinam agranir esha Tulayascha Arjunayordvayo Hutasha e iva durdasha Samudra iva dustara Dhanvinam agranirisha Tulayascha Hutasha iva durdharsha Samudra iva dustara. Dhanvinam agranirisha Matajis. Dhanvinam, of the great bowman, Agrani, the foreman, Ishaha, this child, Tulaya, equally good, Cha, and Arjunayo, of the Arjunas, Dvayo, of the two, Hutasaha, fire, Iva, like, Durdarshaha, irresistible, Samudraha, ocean, Iva, like, Dustaraha, unsurpassable. Translation. Amongst great bowmen, this child will be as good as Arjuna. He will be irresistible, he will be as irresistible as fire and as unsurpassable as the ocean. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. This purport is in two parts. Yesterday the first part has been covered. I'm reading the second part of the purport now. When Maharaj Yudhishthir was disappointed in defeating the king of Magadha, Jarasandha, it was Arjun only who gave King Yudhishthir all kinds of assurances, and thus Arjun, Bhima and Lord Krishna started for Magadha to kill Jarasandha. When he went out to bring all other kings of the world under the subjection of the Pandavas, as usual, after the coronation of every emperor, he conquered the country named Kelinda and brought in subjugation King Bhagadatta. Then he travelled through countries like Antagiri, Ulukapura and Modapura and brought under subjugation all the rulers. Sometimes he underwent severe types of penances, and later on he was rewarded by Indradev. Lord Shiva also wanted to try the strength of Arjun, and in the form of an aborigine, Lord Shiva met him. There was a great fight between the two, And at last Lord Shiva was satisfied with him and disclosed his identity. Arjun prayed to the Lord in all humbleness, and the Lord, being pleased with him, presented him the Pashupata weapon. He acquired many other important weapons from different demigods. He received the Dandastra from Yamaraj, Pashastra from Varuna, Antardhanastra from Kuvera, the treasurer of the heavenly kingdom. Indra wanted him to come to the heavenly kingdom, the Indraloka, beyond the moon planet. In that planet, he was cordially received by the local residents, and he was awarded reception in the heavenly parliament of Indradev. Then he met Indradev, who not only presented with him his Vajra weapon, but also taught him the military and musical science as used in the heavenly planets. In one sense, Indra is the real father of Arjun, and therefore indirectly he wanted to entertain Arjun with the famous society girl of heaven, Urvashi, a celebrated beauty. The society girls of heaven are very lusty, and Urvashi was very eager to contact Arjun, the strongest human being. She met him in his room and expressed her desires, but Arjun sustained his impeachable character by closing his eyes before Urvashi, addressing her as mother of the Kuru dynasty, and placing her in the category of his mothers Kunti, Madri, and Sachi Devi, the wife of Indradev. Disappointed, Urvashi cursed Arjun and left. In the heavenly planet, he also met the great celebrated ascetic Lomasha and prayed to him for the protection of Maharaj Yudhishthir. When his inimical cousin Duryodhan was under the clutches of the Gandharvas, he wanted to save him and requested the Gandharvas to release Duryodhan. But the Gandharvas refused, and thus he fought with them and got Duryodhan released. When all the Pandavas lived in incognito, he presented himself in the court of King Virat as a eunuch and was employed as a musical teacher of Uttara, his future daughter-in-law, and was known in the Virat court as Brihanalla. As Brihanalla, he fought on behalf of Uttar, the son of King Virat, and thus defeated the Kurus in the fight incognito. His secret weapons were safely kept in the custody of a Somi tree, and he ordered Uttara to get them back. His identity and his brother's identity were later on disclosed to Uttar. Dronacharya was informed of Arjun's presence in the fight of the Kurus and the Virat. Later on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjun killed many great generals like Karna and others. After the battle of Kurukshetra, he punished Ashwathama, who had killed all the 5 sons of Draupadi. Then all the brothers went to Bhishma Dev. It is due to Arjun only that the great philosophical discourses of the Bhagavad Gita were again spoken by the Lord on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. His wonderful acts on the battlefield of Kurukshetra are vividly described in the Mahabharata. Arjun was defeated, however, by his son Babruvahan at Manipur and fell unconscious when Ulupi saved him. After the disappearance of Lord Krishna, the message was brought by Arjun to Maharaj Yudhishthir. Again, Arjun visited Dwarka, and all the widow wives of Lord Krishna lamented before him. He took them all in the presence of Vasudeva and pacified all of them. Later on, when Vasudeva passed away, he performed his funeral ceremony in the absence of Krishna. While Arjun was taking all the wives of Krishna to Indraprastha, he was attacked on the way and he could not protect the ladies in his custody. At last, advised by Vyasdev, all the brothers headed for Mahaprasthan. On the way, at the request of his brother, he gave up all important weapons as useless and he dropped them all in the water. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutaha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Shute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I'd like to welcome all of you all for the Srimad Bhagavatam class today. We are reading from the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, this particular chapter that talks about the glories of Parikshit Maharaj. So in this particular chapter, so far, Yudhishthira Maharaj is talking to the Brahmanas, and the Brahmanas are glorifying the child that is just born in the dynasty of the Pandavas. This is the last heir to the throne of the Pandavas, Parikshit. And the Brahmanas are glorifying the greatness of Parikshit Maharaj by seeing his astrological charts. And this particular verse that we are just reading today is the comparison of Parikshit with his great-grandfather Arjun. And one by one talking about the glories of Arjun and comparing that with the newborn child. So it's very interesting that Prabhupada in the purport talks about all the stories of Arjun one by one. I think Brajraj Priyapus yesterday spoke about many stories of Arjun. I'm just going to focus on one. Practically, I'm focusing on one sentence from this entire purport. It's just one story of Arjun, and this is like a less known and a less discussed story of Arjun and his son Babruvahan, and how Babruvahan actually killed his own father Arjun. So I thought I'll just give you all the entire context of the story, which is in Jaimini Bharat. And this particular story is of, it's worth making a movie. That's the kind of story it is. And it is such a thrilling and such an exciting story. You can't predict any part of the story. You just can't predict any part of the story. Every part of the story has twists and turns. So I thought I'll narrate this entire story and see if we can learn some things from it also. But overall, rather than focusing on what we can learn, I'm just going to focus on the story itself, because the story is so huge and it's amazing. It's one of my favorite stories, and I think it will fascinate all of you also as I narrate this story. So the story begins with the section of the Mahabharata where the war is won. The Pandavas are already ruling the kingdom. And then post the war, at some point Yudhishthira Maharaj decides to do a Rajasuya Yagya. And as a ritual of the Rajasuya Yagya is that you send a horse, and the horse goes all over the world, and wherever the horse enters, that particular king has to either accept the emperorship of Yudhishthira or fight against the army that is coming. The horse has a board that says that this horse belongs to Emperor Yudhishthira and it is protected by Arjun. If you capture the horse, you have to fight. So that's what the board, there's a big golden board on the horse. The horse is roaming around everywhere. So this horse enters a city known as Mahishmati. And when it enters this particular city, the prince of that city, his name is Pravira. So he captures this horse. In fact, his wife tells Pravira that capture this horse. So Pravira, listens to his wife and captures the horse and takes the horse inside the kingdom. And naturally, there is a repercussion to that. So Arjun comes along with the son of Karna. whose name is Vrishaketu. So Vrishaketu, after the Mahabharata war is over, whoever is left alive, they all unite together only, and they're ruling together. So Vrishaketu is a son of Karna, but he is along with Arjun fighting in this war, traveling around protecting the horse. So Vrishaketu challenges Pravira, and Pravira and Vrishaketu, they have a massive fight, and Pravira literally destroys Vrishaketu's chariot and army, and then Arjun steps in. So in a few seconds, Pravira is totally bewildered and confused, and Arjun is just about to capture him. At that point, just when Arjun is going to capture him, a horse comes from nowhere. And in this horse is the father of Pravira, who's a king named Neeladwaja. He picks up his son Pravira, puts him on his chariot, and takes him away, very far away from Arjun. And Neeladwaja and Arjun start fighting with each other. Thousands of arrows are being shot at each other. And at some point, when Neeladwaja realizes that I can't stop Arjun anyhow, I have to, do something which is impossible for Arjun to deal with. Neeladwaja closes his eyes and invokes a weapon. And he chants a mantra. And right from inside the city of Mahishmati, a weapon comes flying and lands on the hand of the king, Neeladwaja. So Neeladwaja puts the arrow on his bow and shoots it. And this arrow is not an ordinary arrow. It's a fire weapon. It is Agni personally sitting on that arrow of Neeladwaja. And practically the entire army of Arjun is on fire now. Horses, elephants, soldiers, everyone catches fire. And they're all running haywire, they don't know what to do. And Arjun realizes that there's only one way to deal with this particular fire weapon. I need to do something very different. I can't use normal weapons here. So somebody comes to Arjun and is asking, what is this? There's one of the chiefs of Arjun's army named Anushalva. So he goes to Arjun and asks him, what arrow is this? I've never seen an arrow being used like this. And I've never seen an arrow that can cause fire in everybody simultaneously. And that time, Arjun tells Anushalva the story behind that arrow. And he tells him that Neeladwaja had a wife named Jwala. And so Jwala, she gave birth to a daughter whose name was Swaha. So obviously they had two children. One was Pravira, the prince, and one was Jwala, his daughter. So when Swaha, who was his daughter. So Swaha, when she was attained marriageable age, the king brought thousands of princes and kings to marry Swaha. But she kept rejecting everyone. And finally, the king realized that she may not be satisfied with, with mortals. So he started showing her portraits of all the demigods in the heavens. And when she saw the portrait of Agni Deva, she immediately blushed. She said, I want to marry him. So the king decided to somehow approach Agni to marry his daughter Swaha. And as the king was thinking how to send the marriage proposal to Agni in the heavens, suddenly a young Brahmana walks into the king's palace. And the king offers him a seat. And the Brahmana, he says, I want to marry your daughter. So the king is thinking, how can I marry, my daughter to an ordinary, simple Brahmana like this? And the king says, I'm sorry, my daughter has already chosen Agni. The Brahmana says, I'm only Agni. So the king is not able to believe, how can he, this person be Agni? So the king, he was not ready to accept his words. And one of the ministers of the king, he said, how can you be Agni? He went very close to him and started, looking at him very closely. And Agni opened his mouth. And this fellow's beard caught fire, And everybody was shocked and bewildered. And at that point in time, the queen's sister, she came and she said, I will test him properly. She took him to one secluded place in the palace to test him. And she said, let me see if this is only magical tricks or it's really Agni, basically. And as she was testing him, Agni got angry. And when he got angry, her clothes caught fire and the entire house started burning in fire. And then, this lady came running out and she said, "This is only Agni, please marry your daughter to him," And that is how the marriage of Swaha and Agni was decided. But the king, he put one condition for the marriage. He told Agni that you can marry my daughter on one condition. The condition is that you have to stay in my kingdom only, Mahismati. And whenever I need you for any war, I will just take your name and you should appear on my hands. And you should help me fight the war, So like this, the king put a condition and Agni agreed for the condition. And Agni started staying in the house of King Neeladwaja. And Arjun told this story to Anushalva. And after telling the story, Arjun says, now the only way to counter the weapon, Agni weapon, is by using a Narayanastra. And Arjun invokes a Narayanastra. So the moment Arjun invokes a Narayanastra, all the Pandavas, all the army of the Pandavas, everyone drops their weapons and folds their hands. They have a previous experience from the Mahabharata war, And they know Narayanastra is there, no weapon should be in your hand, So they all drop their weapons and surrender to Narayanastra. And as soon as Arjun, is about to release the Narayanastra from his hand, Agni Dev, he surrenders. He folds his hand and he surrenders to Arjun. And he says, "You have won, I have defeated, I give up," basically. And at this point, Agni, he goes to the king, Neeladwaja, and he tells him, "See, I am your son-in-law. I have told you that I will serve you always. But in front of Narayanastra, I can't do anything." He says, "Better give the horse back." So then Neeladwaja realizes that, Agni is also not able to help. So he says, and Agni in fact advises him. He tells him, Arjun is protected by Krishna personally. The Narayanastra that is in Arjun's hand is not just a weapon. It is Krishna himself protecting Arjun. And anyone who is protected by Krishna, nobody can do anything to that person. He says, "Better give the horse back." So Neeladwaja agrees to give the horse back. But his wife, Queen Jwala, she is wild and angry. As her name signifies, Jwala, She is fiery and upset about this whole thing, And she literally pushes Neeladwaja out to fight again. And Neeladwaja goes to fight just because Jwala is pushing him so badly. But he gets utterly defeated and comes back again, And then he realizes that there is no point in listening to my wife. I better go and surrender to myself. In fact, he goes and becomes a part of Arjun's party going ahead, in the journey of the horse. So Queen Jwala, she is so much seething in anger, and she sees her husband going away with Arjun. She decides that she will be the cause of destruction of Arjun. Somehow, the idea of revenge and the fantasy of revenge is so powerful in the heart that when somebody has hurt you, you can't just give up. And especially this particular thing, the hurt is more of perceived hurt, right? So here, she goes to her brother. When a husband doesn't give support, she goes to her brother. Her brother's name is Ulumukha. And this guy is a king of dacoits. And she tells Ulumukha, "Go and fight with Arjun." So this Ulumukha goes and fights with Arjun and badly gets defeated again. So now she realizes that nobody from my family can help me. So she decides she will herself seek revenge. So she goes to the river Ganga and she gets on a boat. And many villages are there in that boat, and the boat is moving along the river Ganga. They reach the middle of the river Ganga. And while entering the boat, she splashes water from her left foot first. So it's considered to be a very disrespectful way of entering Mother Ganga, and dealing with Mother Ganga. So she begins only her relationship with Ganga in a very disrespectful way, purposely. Hanumanji, when he enters Lanka also, he puts his left foot in first. It's a putting your left foot in for anything is a sign of inauspiciousness, basically. So when she enters into the boat and the boat is in the middle of the river, she begins to give all kinds of dirty bad words to Ganga. Now imagine, all kinds of abusive words. She's blasting Mother Ganga, and all the villagers are bewildered. Why is this lady talking so bad things about Mother Ganga over here? And finally, the kind of words that she used are so indecent that Ganga herself comes out, She's like very shocked and bewildered, and nobody has ever used such words for her, basically. And then Jwala fearlessly starts talking to Ganga. And she says, do you remember when you were young, you had dropped 7 children into the river, and that 8th child, the only child that you have, is killed by Arjun? And she really instigates Ganga about how her only son is dead. And she says, the person who is responsible for the death of your son, he's still roaming around alive. How can you be quiet? And then, because Jwala does that kind of thing to Ganga gets very upset and very angry. She remembers, what has happened to her son Bhishma, and she curses Arjun that just like my son is dead because of Arjun, I curse Arjun 6 months from today, Arjun's son will kill him. So like that Ganga curses. Now Jwala is very satisfied. Now her problem is solved. And she actually goes out from the river, she goes back and she jumps into fire, ends her life. And she takes a next birth as an arrow in the quiver of Babruvan. She's so adamant that she will destroy Arjun, basically. This is like typically the story of Amba and Bhishma also, right? She took 3 births to cause destruction to one person. So then, after, so the horse continues going all over the world, So one after another, the horse is going to different provinces. So the horse roams around for 1 whole year. So then the horse is moving to the northern provinces. So while the horse is on the sojourn to the northern provinces, Arjun begins to recall his first journey to the north, northeastern countries, the northeastern states in Manipur and all those places. So Arjun starts recalling all those beautiful experiences that he has had during those 12 years that he was exiled because of a mistake that he made with Draupadi and Yudhishthira. So he remembers how he had met Ulupi, who was the daughter of the Nagalokas. He was bathing in the river and bathing in the Ganga. And Ulupi, she was so mesmerized by Arjun, so she pulled him and took him to the Nagalokas. And Arjun and Ulupi spent a lot of time together. They were married in the Naga style. And after spending some time with Ulupi, again Arjun came back to the earthly realms. And eventually he reached this place known as Manipur. Manipur also known as Manalura in the olden times. And this was the place where he was, the first time that he had come to Manipur, he was a guest of the king of Manipur named Chitravahan. And in that palace of Chitravahan, he had met Chitragandha. And both of them fell in love with each other. They had a very strong bond. And Chitravahan agreed to marry Chitragandha to Arjun on one condition. The condition was that in his ancestry, there was some kind of a curse. Actually, it was a boon of Lord Shiva, but somehow it not exactly is a boon also. So, in the entire dynasty of Chitravahan, all his previous ancestors, everyone had only one child. And all of them had only sons. One son, to continue the lineage. But Chitravahan had only one daughter. He didn't have a second child. So he told Arjun that you can marry my daughter, but on the condition that your son, which is born to my daughter, will be the king of Manipur. He'll stay here only. And you will not take along with you. So Arjun agreed, and through Chitragandha and Arjun was born Babruvahan. So when Arjun, was remembering all this, that's when they entered Manipur. And as soon as they stepped into the city of Manipur, suddenly a young boy came and fell at the feet of Arjun and caught his feet and started taking shelter. So Arjun, he was shocked to see a Kshatriya prince falling at his feet and holding his feet and asking for shelter. Kshatriyas don't do that. Kshatriyas are not people who bend down and touch feet, and they are not like that. This is a very different way of Kshatriya dealings. So Arjun was thinking, who is this person? At that time, Arjun was suddenly told that the horse has been captured by somebody. And the horse has been captured by King Babruvahan and his people. And this boy who was standing at his feet of Arjun was Babruvahan. And he says, I'm sorry, I'm your son Babruvahan. By mistake, I captured the horse. And when I read Maharaj Yudhishthir's name on it and your name on it, that's when I realized I made a mistake. He said, I have come now to surrender the horse back to you. And please accept me under your shelter. I am your son. So now, Babruvahan was, imagine, he is a young boy now. He had never seen his father, literally. When he was just born, he had seen his father. After that, now it's after 16, 17 years, he's seeing the father again. So the Babruvahan has a lot of affection for his father. And he's very mesmerized by, imagine having a father like Arjun, what a heroic thing, and it can't be anything better than that for a Kshatriya. So Babruvahan was very, very eager to take shelter of his father and have association of his father. Arjun, instead of picking up Babruvahan and embracing him, he kicks him on his head. Imagine, Arjun gives a solid kick on the head of Babruvahan. And Babruvahan rolls off and he falls somewhere. And Babruvahan is bewildered, and all the people who are standing over there are bewildered. And why is Arjun kicking his own son like this? Arjun says, a warrior that is possessed by fear cannot be my son. He says, when you saw that I am guarding the horse, you became afraid. You caught the horse, but the moment you saw my name, fear struck you. And you are falling at my feet and begging shelter like a eunuch. And he said, you can't be my son. And then he started really blaspheming Babruvahan and his mother. He said, my son is Abhimanyu. He single-handedly fought against 6 Maharathis and he defeated thousands of people in the Chakravyuh. You can't be my son. And then he started saying, you must be born in your mother's womb through some Vaishya man. And Vaishyas are very good at bargaining. You are coming and bargaining with me. You definitely cannot be a Kshatriya's son. And he said, bargaining is not for Kshatriyas, warfare is for Kshatriyas. Like that he insulted Babruvahan, he insulted Babruvahan's mother also. So now, Babruvahan, he got angry. He says, you insult me, it's fine. Would you insult my mother? I'm not going to keep quiet. And he says that I will show you whose blood runs in my veins. And that's how the fight begins between Babruvahan and Arjun. And here is like a father-son fighting like mad. And the battle that followed between Arjun and Babruvahan was a battle something like nobody had ever seen in the history. Even in the Mahabharata war, such a battle was not fought. And Babruvahan single-handedly destroyed the entire army of Arjun, actually. And people were seeing arrows flying in all directions, chariots were blasting, elephants were flying here and there. It was the kind of war that nobody had ever seen, and the kind of missiles that nobody had ever seen. And Arjun, he shot a arrow at Babruvahan, and the arrow was so fast, Babruvahan shot another arrow that dissected that arrow into 2 parts of Arjun. That 2 parts of Arjun's arrow still continued flying towards Babruvahan. So Babruvahan shot 2 more arrows and dissected those 2 parts into 2 more parts. And the 4 arrows continued flying towards Babruvahan. And As Babruwan was trying to shoot 4 more arrows to destroy those 4, a 5th arrow came from somewhere and hit him. And Babruwan went flying. So Babruwan, he got very angry that his father had, hit him like that. And Babruwan got up first, before he fought with Arjun, he fought with Vrishakirtu, who was Karna's son. And he thoroughly defeated him. After defeating him thoroughly, Babruwan walked up to Karna's son Vrishakirtu. He cut off the head of Vrishakirtu with his arrows. And he used his bow and began to hit the body of Vrishakirtu with the bow. And started telling him, this is how Kshatriyas kill people. And he started really blasting Arjun, in that way. Literally insulting Arjun, basically. And then after Vrishakirtu was dead, Arjun came running. He picked up Vrishakirtu's body and the head was disjointed. And Arjun was very sad that Karna's son is also dead now. And Babruwan, he began to ask him, now tell me whose blood runs in my veins. So now Arjun, he became wild because the fight was between him and Arjun, and he removed it on somebody else only. So Arjun began to shoot arrows at Babruwan, and Babruwan, he didn't allow one single arrow to touch him after that. And finally, Babruwan, the interesting thing was, as all the other warriors were observing this war, they saw this time Babruwan was not even straining himself. He was just aram standing and shooting arrows. And Arjun was not able to defeat him also. So the people were bewildered. How is Arjun not able to fight against one young boy like this? And in the Virat war, Arjun defeated the entire Virat force. All the Kauravas, Bhishma, Drona, all of them put together. And here he is not able to defeat one young boy here. And finally, seeing that his father was so perplexed, Babruwan, speaks to him. He says, you must be wondering why your skills taught by your guru Drona are not working today. How the mighty warrior of the Mahabharata war is ineffective today in this particular war. Babruwan tells, it is simply because of your stupidity of insulting a devoted lady. And he says, you think Krishna is always on your side. You think Krishna always protects you. But why is Krishna not there today with you? The reason Krishna is not there today with you is because you have insulted a lady. And because you have insulted a lady, nobody will protect you today. And saying that, Babruwan takes an arrow. And this is the particular arrow that is having jwala in it, and he shoots the arrow beheads Arjun's neck. And Arjun's neck is chopped off from his body. Arjun collapses. The Pandavas are shocked and bewildered, Babruwan starts crying that he has killed his own father, And when the news spreads of Arjun's death, the mothers of Babruwan come running out. Chitragandha comes, and then Ulupi also comes. It is said the day on which Arjun's body collapses. So when Babruwan cuts off the head of Arjun, Arjun realizes by this point in time that I can't do anything to Babruwan. And Arjun also realizes that I made a grave mistake of insulting, Chitragandha. And he realizes that now my powers are ineffective. He stops fighting literally, and he begins to chant the names of Krishna. And Babruwan realizes that Arjun is going to chant the name of Krishna. And once you chant the name of Krishna, then, the arrow won't be effective. So Babruwan, before Arjun completes chanting the name of Krishna, he shoots the arrow and cuts off the head of Arjun. And the head of Arjun is chanting Krishna's name. But the body falls off, basically, The day on which Arjun falls, that day is the Ekadasi of Kartik month. And this is the exact day 6 months before Ganga had cursed Arjun. So the curse of Ganga falls in place, and Jwala, it becomes a deadly missile that enters into Babruwan's arrow, and all of it comes together in this particular scene. So now Babruwan is crying, and Chitragandha and Ulupi come, Babruwan is trying to explain to his mothers what happened. Now, how do you explain, to the mothers? And these are two wives who are seeing Arjun after decades now, literally. So, Chitragandha, she gets very angry at Babruwan. She says, "You fool, are you not ashamed of killing your own father?" So he said, why did you fight with your father without consulting me? And she says, he has come here after so many years. Instead of welcoming him, this is how you have treated him. And, she says, now I command you, like Parshuram cut off the head of his own mother, you cut my head off. I want to die with him. I want to die with your father, So she is, in great agony. Babruwan is realized that he has made a big mistake. And he feels that, now I've fallen prey to anger. And in anger, the whole idea of, Vismita, the mind gets bewildered. Krishna speaks about this, Kama Yeshakaro, what is that? Dhyayata Vishyan Pumsan. This whole series, how when you get angry, the mind gets bewildered. And here, Babruwan realizes that I overacted in anger. I did too much, more than what should have been done. And that time, Ulupi comes in. And Ulupi says, I think I have an idea to revive Arjun. So she says, there is a particular jewel in the Nagaloka. And this particular jewel is only with Sheshanag. But this jewel is a very, very special jewel that the snakes protect very dearly. And they use this jewel only for their community. If a snake dies, they use this jewel to revive the snake. So if somehow this particular jewel can be got, then Arjun can be revived. So Babruwan gets up and he says, I will destroy all the snakes and get the jewel, no matter what it takes. Ulupi says, not all problems are solved by anger. She tells him, you relax. There is another way to solve problems also. You can have discussions and get it. So then Ulupi, calls one of the assistants, one of her people, one of the Nagas, whose name is Pundarik. So she explains to Pundarik the whole problem. So Pundarik is a well-wisher of Ulupi and her family. So she tells Pundarik, go to Sheshnag and ask him for this jewel. And tell him that my husband is dead and we will revive Arjun and give you back the jewel. So when Pundarik goes to Sheshnag, he tells him that Arjun and Vrishaketu are dead. We will just use that jewel to revive them and we give you back the jewel to you. Sheshnag, he says, the moment he hears Arjun's name, he says, Krishna's servant Arjun, Krishna's best friend, take no problem. But then Sheshnag realizes that that jewel is not only his, it belongs to the Nagaloka, basically. He says, before I give you the jewel, if it was only me deciding, I would have given you the jewel immediately. But because others are involved, let me just consult the others if they are okay with it. So Sheshnag tells the situation to all the Nagas, and he tells them that, usually the Nagas don't give this jewel to anyone, especially to human beings. But in this particular case, this human being is not an ordinary human being, it is Arjun, who is Krishna's servant and Krishna's best friend. So let us just give, this is my opinion. What do you all say? So then, when Sheshnag asks opinions, one Naga speaks up. And this Naga's name is Dhritarashtra, interestingly. And this Naga says that I know that a benevolent person does not hesitate to give charity. But I must tell you, only a fool will give charity to a person who is ungrateful. And he says, human beings are the most ungrateful species in the world. And if the Nagas decide to help human beings who are ungrateful, they will use this jewel to kill us only. And he says that usually the humans are scared of the snakes, because they know that once a snake bites, nothing can help them. But if they have this jewel, imagine how they will start using the snakes. All beggars will start catching 100 hooded snakes and using them to show tricks to the people. So Dhritarashtra says, these are the way in which human beings use us. When they know that we are not poisonous and our poison is useless for them, won't harm them. So then, all the snakes support Dhritarashtra. They say, yes, yes, what Dhritarashtra is saying is correct. We have seen how humans are bad. So Sheshnag, he has seen the good side of human beings, but Dhritarashtra and all other snakes, they claim to have seen the bad side of human beings. And they all unanimously said, don't give this jewel to the humans. Now, Sheshnag tells Pundrik, I'm sorry, all my people don't want to give the jewel to you. Now, there is only one jewel that can protect Arjun's life, and that is Shri Krishna. He is the topmost jewel in this world. Please go to Shri Krishna only. So Pundrik comes back, unsuccessful, and Ulupi now loses hope. Then Babruvahan gets up. He says, now let me try my style. So Ulupi says, now you go and do what you want. So then Babruvahan comes to attack the Nagaloka, with his full army. And Babruvahan, when he declares a war on the Nagaloka, Sheshnag, the king of the snakes, he tells Dhritarashtra, no, you lead the war. You are the one who gave your brilliant advice. Now you go and fight the war. So he makes Dhritarashtra the commander of the whole war. Dhritarashtra goes with all the Nagas to fight against Babruvahan. And the fight is extremely powerful. Dhritarashtra goes with a zillion snakes. Millions and millions of snakes he takes to fight against Babruvahan. And the fight against Babruvahan and the Nagas is so powerful. The snakes start spitting poison. And some snakes, they have to come close to bite. Some snakes can bite from far only, And some snakes have wings. They started flying all over the war and started, emitting fire and shooting poison. And Dhritarashtra himself killed 21,000 soldiers of Babruvahan. So overwhelmed by this kind of curiosity, Babruvahan starts shooting very interesting kind of weapons. He first shoots a Mayurastra, a peacock weapon. And thousands of peacocks start flying in all directions and eating the snakes, And then he starts shooting a Pipilikastra at Dhritarashtra. Pipilikastra is the ant weapon. And thousands of ants crawl on Dhritarashtra and start biting him all over, And Dhritarashtra is totally bewildered by the biting of the torment of the snakes, of the ants. And he runs back to the Nagaloka. And still ants are biting him. Wherever he is going, ants are biting him, basically. So in the meanwhile, Babruvahan shoots Nakulastra. Nakulastra is a mongoose weapon. And thousands of mongoose start running all over and biting the snakes. And that's the entire war of the Nagalokas ends. All the Nagas give up and run here and there. And Babruvahan wins the war. And Sheshnag, he realized he doesn't feel bad only that the snakes lost. Because he realizes they deserve it. Krishna is asking, Krishna's friend needs it, and these guys are bargaining and showing their arrogance. And finally, Sheshnag comes with the jewel and hands it over to Babruvahan. And Babruvahan takes the jewel along with with all his people and comes back to the place where his father was lying dead, Manipur. So, in the meanwhile, Dhritarashtra's anger and desire for revenge is not yet gone. He sends two of his sons to still, do something to prevent Babruvahan from reviving his father. So Dhritarashtra has two sons, interesting names. One is called Durbuddhi and the other is called Dushswabhava. And like their names, they behave also like that only, So these two sons, they decided to go and do something to prevent the idea of Babruvahan from working. So they reach where Manipur, before Babruvahan reaches. So Babruvahan is entering here with a jewel. And these two snakes come from the other direction. And everybody now, so the body of Arjun and Vrishaketu is lying and the heads are lying separately. And all of them are looking at Babruvahan come back with the jewel. So everybody is excited and happy and all. In the meanwhile, these two snakes come, they take the head of Arjun and run away. So body of Arjun is there, but head is gone, So now the jewel has come and Babruvahan is very happy saying that, the jewel has come here. And Ulupi, she takes the jewel and she is, about to place it on the body of Arjun, basically. Suddenly they realize their head is missing. Now again they start panicking. Now what is the point, if you revive the body without the head, what's the point? So everybody is bewildered where the head disappeared. So as everyone is bewildered and confused at the disappearance of Arjun's head, exactly at that time, Krishna arrives in that spot, and somehow Krishna happens to come in that particular place. He comes along with Bhima and Pradyumna, his son. Kunti Maharani also comes at that point. So all of them, when Krishna enters, everybody pays obeisances to Krishna. And everyone runs to Krishna and says, please, now you have to only help us. Nobody else can help us. Arjun's head is missing. The jewel is here. So Krishna, he does something amazing. Krishna closes his eyes and offers a prayer. And it's an amazing prayer that Krishna offers. He is praying, he says, if I have been self-controlled in my entire life, and then by the power of my purity, let the head of Arjun come back here. And let the heads of whoever have taken it blast. As soon as Krishna offers that prayer, somewhere far away there is a big blast. And the head of Arjun comes flying straight and lands in the hand of Krishna. So, Krishna keeps the head of Arjun next to the body of Arjun, keeps the jewel on top of the body of Arjun. As soon as Krishna places the jewel on top of Arjun's body, the head and body join like a magnet. Arjun gets up. And then Krishna keeps the jewel on the body of Vrishaketu. The head joins back and Vrishaketu gets up. And then Arjun falls at the feet of Krishna. As soon as Arjun gets up, he's chanting Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Continuously. It's like a habit, basically. And all the citizens of Manipur, they are so happy, having Arjun back. So then Babruvahan, he takes Arjun and Krishna to his palace, and they install Arjun and Krishna on the throne of Manipur. And both Arjun and Krishna together are sitting on the throne of Manipur. And then Babruvahan is feeling very bad that he caused so much of chaos and killed his own father. He's not even looking at Krishna and Arjun. And Krishna recognizes this hesitation of Babruvahan, and he tells him, don't worry. He says, you come here. And he tells him, a good king, a good Kshatriya is someone who can defeat the entire world. But his desire is he wants to be defeated by his son. So by defeating your father, you're actually not disappointed your father, you made your father happy. So he says, don't worry, your father is not upset or angry with you, but he's actually very proud of you. Because only a person like you can defeat him. Nobody else in the world can defeat him. So like that, Krishna reunites Arjun with Babruvahan. And then Krishna gives this message to Babruvahan and through Babruvahan to all of us. He says, defeating your father was very much in your hand. But cutting off the head was not in your hand. He says, the cutting off the head happened not because of you, but because of higher powers. And Krishna tells Babruvahan that you were simply used as an instrument by the higher powers to teach the world a lesson. And even the most powerful Arjun had to go through a repercussion of, such a repercussion because he spoke ill about this Chitragandha, about this woman. And because he spoke such bad things about her, therefore he had to go through such a repercussion. So Krishna is giving this instruction to the world through this particular story, that if anyone insults a woman like this, even if it is Arjun, they have to face something as bad as this. And then Babruvahan, he feels pacified that Krishna is given this, and it's not after all his own fault. And that is how Babruvahan and his father get united. So, of course, in the story, the glory of so many people comes out. The glory of Babruvahan comes out, the glory of Arjun comes out, the glory of Arjun's ability to chant Krishna's name and take shelter of Krishna at the right moments of his life comes out. The story of how Ulupi and Chitragandha, in spite of what happened, didn't doubt Arjun, had faith in Arjun, comes out. So many amazing lessons. The faith of Sheshnag in human beings, though obviously all others have no faith in him, no faith in humans, like that. Overall, the story is the glorification of the Pandava family, the glorification of the entire dynasty of Pandavas, and it's more than that, the glorification of the dynasty of Krishna's devotees. And I think wherever the Pandavas are there, Krishna is there, and wherever Krishna is there, his holy names are there. And wherever Krishna's holy names and Krishna is present, miracles happen. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.